So let's go I will just say that we had a conversation where we were just on the phone catching up, and you were telling me about how we use an ELF versus half, and I was so fascinated by what you said. I was like, we have got to share this with all the Genius Network members. This particular insight and awareness and skill and technique and listening that you have has been very valuable, so that's why I've got, that's what I want to talk to you about, so I'll let you take it from there.
Yeah, well, I mean, when I first heard about it from you, it just made sense. This is a really liberating idea, and it's a little bit harder to embrace early on when you're hungry for clients, customers, that there are a lot of people that you should just not take in. You should not talk to at all, period, ever. And maybe one of the key liberating moments for me was, we were going to run one of those Facebook lookalike audiences things to target marketing, and Facebook is, they get these insidious algorithms. You might as well take advantage of them, right? Not just the bad guys. And they came back and they basically said, there's 2 million people that fit your perfect client profile in the U.S. And I'm like, 2 million? Like, we're going to walk away from the vast majority of people out there, and there's still 2 million people that we got to get to and we got to serve. And so, we really began to accelerate along those lines, just, adopting, embracing the idea that, that you planted in us.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and so, and what he's referring to is ELF versus half.
We'll get into that. I got some slides. And because
don't pull this weird FBI shit on me here. No, I'm kidding.
Right.
Okay.
So we'll get I want to run a couple and I want to talk.
Yep.
And so if you guys will put my PowerPoint up, this first one is really, it's an advertisement, but it's not really an advertisement for me. Is that thing ready?
Yes, I think it's, and there you go. You can see it up front here on the monitor, the front there. See, we're just going to have you negotiate with the technology right now. Hey guys,
Special agent hostage negotiator for Voss. My role as a hostage negotiator was to connect authentically with the victim's family, and with the hostage taker. Everybody really deserves to have somebody hear what they have to say.
So that's not a bad video, right? I got that directly as a result of being a member of Genius Network. Like, we talk about, the benefits of being part of Genius Network and the stuff that ends up just kind of coming your way, falling out of the sky, or that the universe attracts because of the people that are involved in Genius Network. And when we were at a meeting and somebody came on and they call it the perfect intro video. We could do this perfect intro for your business. And they knew I was going to be at the meeting, and they made it for me and gave it to me. And so, I mean, there's so many additional fringe benefits from the kind of people that are attracted to what you've built. Yeah. And I just want to bring that as an example, and I wanted to thank you for it.
Thank you. Thank you.
So to get into the ELF half thing, and also, I wanted to welcome you back. I had to put that in. And I knew I was going to be late. I apologize for that. And first of all, it's not a sin to not get the deal. It's a sin to take a long time to not get the deal. Because every one of you as an entrepreneur, your most valuable commodity that's engaged in every single negotiation you're engaged in is what? Time. And this is why this stuff kills you. Now, it's not only a sin to take a long time to not get the deal, it's a sin to take a long time to get a bad deal. And in my company, we've always said no deal is better than a bad deal. And we learned that the hard way because we had a deal in 2009, 2010 that was lucrative. The L in half could be lucrative, but it was blood money. And for a long time, we didn't even think we were going to get paid. Almost a year's worth of work, a lot of money that I promised people. It just went really bad. It turned into blood money. My opinion of lawyers deteriorated as we went through it until I finally found a lawyer who knew what they were talking about. By the way, if you get a dispute between states, if you're in one state and another one, the other person, if they're cheating you, is in another state, find a lawyer that's comfortable with being in the Northern District Federal Court, Northern District of Virginia. The Northern District of Virginia is affectionately known as the Rocket Docket. And the other side, who's trying to bury you with motions and legal fees, if they're wrong, as soon as they get to the Rocket Docket, they settle with you right away, or as soon as they find out where they are, they settle. And I went back and forth with lawyers that kept telling me there was nothing you could do, and we finally came across a female attorney, and she said, the Rocket Docket is where you want to be. And we settled quickly. So, just as a side note, great place to be. But it took us a long time. It was a bad deal. It was blood money. It was a lot of money, and it was blood money. And then that was before I learned what you're talking about, and so now it just makes sense. So it's a sin to take a long time to get a bad deal. All right, so ELFs. Easy, lucrative, fun. Bing. And all right, so we got little pictures for each one because I figured hard, annoying, lame, and frustrating. What does this look like? And these are types. These are types that you will see and you will start to look out for. And again, the lame, the lucrative. Lucrative is still blood money. Just because there's a lot of money there, that's one of the things that's going to make you vulnerable to this whole concept. And then finally, frustrating. Now, I learned about this concept called the drama triangle way back when I was on a suicide hotline. If you've been in crisis intervention or therapy, dysfunctional behavior and dysfunctional relationships, you've probably come across a drama triangle at some point in time. And so since there were some F words already used earlier, I'll go ahead and go with them because they're great adjectives. For people that are making a point of fucking with you and soaking up your time and sucking the life out of you, and if they call it suicide hotlines, then they're also business people, and they're also the people that you interact with. And they told us there are basically three types, the rescuer, the persecutor, and the victim. And then they play one role, and as soon as they suck you into a role, like, I need your help. If they're being victimized, I'm really in a jam. You got to help me figure this out. And you offer some suggestions, which we would do on a hotline. Then they'd attack you for those suggestions. They'd switch from one position to the triangle and another, keeping you off balance. And as I was knocking out the profiles for the halves, I'm like, this is a drama triangle. It's exactly what this is, because these people are they're gonna run this game on you. Some of them can't help it. Some of them because they can. I went to somebody was cheating me, and I had a friend said he didn't cheat you because he could. He cheated you because he couldn't help himself. So what their motivations are doesn't matter. But it's still happening, and it's still keeping you off guard. So in our halves, I thought Joe's acronym was dead on. He's got a great gut instinct for human behavior. Might you get sucked into it? And in my company, we think about the different kind of emotions because we want to diagnose what's going on. Like if I'm getting frustrated, if you're getting frustrated, the negative behavior, frustration is about the future. You get frustrated over something that you envisioned was going to happen in the future and you're having trouble getting there. So if you feel frustration and you're not sure what's going on, it's very much about someone or something is denying you access to something in the future. That's what frustration is about. Annoying is about something that has happened. As you begin to isolate where this is coming from and interpret your gut instinct, and then you can trace it down a little bit more. But very much like the drama triangle, they're going to move around on you when they call you on the phone or they try to engage with you for whatever it is. So it's not just one type of behavior, it's different types of behavior that bounce around. And it's invisible. This is death by 1,000 cuts. So we implemented this in our company early on. Our director of business development, a young lady named Davy Johnson, who's brilliant. She's just so much fun to learn, to work with, and she learns fast. For her, mistakes are learning accelerators. She loves making mistakes. Some people are horrified by it. She loves it. She gets smarter faster by screwing up. So I started telling her about the half elf thing. I said, this is what it is. Let's start to look for it, and let's develop our own profiles. What do they say? So we know right off the bat that we will turn and walk away. So we've implemented this with a tremendous amount of success. And then I just recently asked her, I said, so what's it costing us?
Hey, I hope you're enjoying this video, and I want to let you know that I have a new book that's come out, and if you'd like to get it absolutely free, there's a link below in the description, or you can wait till the end of this video, or you can simply go to joesfreebook.com and you can get a copy there.
Because you guys got to know what it's actually literally costing you. I'm working on a book on real estate now, and the guy that I'm working on the book, it's his opinion that a half costs you 2 elves. Every bad customer is costing you business with at least 2 good customers. Start to think about how that's picking your pocket. So then I ran up past Davey. I said, what do you think the costs are of halves versus elves? And she said, they're at least 2, if not 3. Now, think about what you make an hour, or you're making a gig. Like when I got out of the FBI, you know, there's some guys who used to brag like, I don't work for less than $1,000 a day. And one of my friends pointed out to me about the person that said this. He said, no, he doesn't, first of all, when he gets a $1,000 a day gig, it costs him 3 days. So he's really working for $300 a day. And then it costs him 2 months to get that gig. So he ain't working for $1,000 a day, he's working for $1,000 for every 3 months. But people tell them this stuff in their head, like, would you take $1 million gig? Well, what if it took you 2 years to get your $1 million? You didn't make $2 million. You made a lot less. So this is what they cost you. And that's just in delivery. And she said, I think they actually cost us a lot more in preparation. Probably 5. The amount of time your most valuable commodity spent on, and 1/2, you could have served 5 elves. And then finally, since she keeps track of that, she says, and our halves are not repeaters. The elves are the repeaters for a whole variety of reasons. So ideally, it just begins to catch you. Ideally, you're beginning to see how just self-destructive it is to not start learning the difference and walking away. And our biggest problem, and my company's biggest problem right now, adopting this, meeting the demand. Intentionally walking away from more and more people. Our biggest problem is meeting the demand of the elves. You're going to have the same problem because you're going to discover them. And you hear it echoed, you've heard it echoed with the different people you've heard talk about being successful in business. I got successful as soon as I stopped saying yes to a lot of stuff. Started saying no to more. These are people that their gut instincts, whether they realize it or not, say no to the halves. The more people they said no to, and then and if you think about it, these are the people, their gut instinct is developing more and more. And there's a line that I'm going to throw out that I learned from Dan Sullivan, because, you know, Dan, he's got a line that we're going to share in a second in behavior that as soon as it comes out of somebody's mouth, they run the other direction. Just not interested in them. And so we're going to get into that, and those are on your tools. But is there anything, I've been talking the whole time, anything you want to add?
No, I'm just really loving this because it is just seeing the concept of elf versus half, and we've, you know, in Genius Network meetings, we do the tool where people list who are the people, the projects, the things that they're doing that are elf and which ones are half, so that they can, you know, eliminate more half from their life and have more elf. But the depth that you've gone into this, and then identifying phrases which you're going to share and stuff, is incredibly valuable. So to me, this is validation and acknowledgement of stuff, and then this is what real collaboration is, where you take an idea and a concept and you give it to someone else who's very smart in their particular area, and they're able to use it. So to me, I'm just sitting there going, I love this. I mean, I really do.
Hey, I hope you're enjoying this video, and I want to let you know that I have a new book that's come out, and if you'd like to get it absolutely free, there's a link below in the description, or you can wait till the end of this video, or you can simply go to joesfreebook.com and you can get a copy there.
I don't know if it was what organization that Dan told, you'd mentioned this years ago, Dan, where something like 80% of customers in some businesses are not profitable, and they are supported by the 20% that are, because the pain in the ass people, you know, if you want to take the 80-20 rule, and of course there's nuances and variations, but the fact of the matter is, as you're saying this, I'm sitting there thinking, who are the ELF Genius Network members? Who are the ones that have been the half? And the amount, you know, that whole squeaky wheel gets the oil sort of line.
Right,
Well,
right.
Peter Diamandis has the flip side of that, which is the squeaky oil gets replaced, right? Not the squeaky wheel gets the oil. And there are a lot of clients, you know, that whole rule of, you know, the customer is always right, you know, Dan's talked, is bullshit.
Yeah.
Because if you think the customer is always right, you never get any sleep, you never have any free time. You know, the customer is not king. It's that thing, you know, the customer is king. Well, no, they're not. The customer is a partnership. And my very first marketing course, it was clients, not customers, because customer implies someone that buys something from you. Client implies someone you have a relationship with. So this really represents to me about how to develop relationships, not just people that want something or they want to, you know, want the best price. They're skeptical and all that. So I'm just commenting. It's great. So I appreciate it.
And some of this is really hard for people too, because you think of yourself as a good person, you don't want to abandon someone. And this is absolutely abandoning people who are just not for you. And it's not their fault. You're not blaming them. You're not getting mad at them. Bad fit. But it's just not letting them soak up your life, because they're going to hold you back. They're going to do all sorts. There's just nothing good. And you're not good for them. If they're a half for you, you might be a half for them.
Yeah.
So you're not necessarily doing them any favors either.
Exactly. Yeah. It's a right fit or wrong fit client for you. Yeah, you know, and look, people that are total leeches, there's plenty of other people they can suck the lifeblood out of those people too. You know, if you want to just add a compassionate twist on what Chris is talking about here.
Yeah, and then, you know, these also represent the complainers, the trolls, the rock throwers. I mean, there was a comment earlier, Brett, the Canadian dude.
Yeah, Brett Wilson.
You know, he talked about people asking, you know, what about the negativity? Like I get pretty, you know, overall on Instagram, I'm really supportive. And still I get some negative comments. And I put something up, and some guy said to me, like, look, are you, the negative comments on your post, does that get you down? I'm like, did you look at the ratio?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Like, look at the ratio. So once you start adopting this, people that are for you, you don't got to serve everybody. The customer's not always right. Mm-hmm. The critic is not always right, you know, and the critic is usually wrong.
Right. And
You know, you're just better off, like, no bad on anybody. We're just going to walk away, which also gets to, I don't have a lot of presentation on how you deal with a half, but the short answer is walk away respectfully. Mm-hmm. Like, however, walk away respectfully. Now, that doesn't mean when you walk away, you're still not going to take some shots. And when we're teaching this in real estate, you know, one of the agents didn't want to collaborate and be victimized by a particular half and walked away. And they were unsure as to whether or not it was a proper thing to do to walk away. And got a follow-up, just critical email. We were going to do business with you, but you refused to do this, and because you refused to provide the service that we wanted from you, then that's why we're not going to do business with you. And they were beside themselves. And they called me on the phone, and they're like, holy cow, did we do the wrong thing? And I'm like, that's predatory behavior. And a predator gets angry with a victim for not allowing themselves to be victimized. So just by taking this approach, don't assume that it's going to be all sunshine and roses. Because the people that you will not allow them to victimize you, a predator becomes angry with a victim for not being a victim. So you're going to take some heat, no matter how respectful you are, when you walk away, and you need to walk away respectfully. The last impression is a lasting impression. But don't assume that because you're nice and respectful, that that's always going to trigger the same type of behavior in return. You're going to take some heat, and that's confirmation that you did the right thing.
Yeah, that's great.